Penguin Random House Audio presents Silver Linings, a Rose Harbor novel by Debbie Macomber, read for you by Lorelei King.
Dear friends, welcome back to Rose Harbor. Jo Marie, the owner of the inn at Rose Harbor, is eager to greet her newest guests, and she's badly in need of a distraction. Nothing is working out the way she wants, though isn't that life? We seldom get what we want, but we almost always get what we need. And at this juncture in hers, Jo Marie has plenty of needs and wants, most of which involve Mark Taylor, her handyman. As for those guests, the teenage years have always intrigued me, especially the angst and torment of falling in love for the first time. After reading several wonderful young adult novels recently, I found my mind conjuring up a story of young love. You're about to meet Coco and Katie, who are returning to Cedar Cove for their 10-year high school reunion. They each have a specific reason for attending: an agenda to right wrongs and mend the wounds incurred in their first high school loves. And naturally, they plan to stay at the inn at Rose Harbor. My hope is that you enjoy this next installment in the Rose Harbor Inn series, and that your own mind will wander back to those high school days when every emotion was new and intense. Hearing from my readers brings me great joy. I personally read every letter and post, and I thank you for your comments. What you've shared over the years has had a serious impact on my career. You can reach me at my website, DebbieMacomber.com, or on Facebook. Letters are welcome as well, mailed to Post Office Box 1458, Port Orchard, Washington, 98366. Thank you for your ongoing support and encouragement. Warmest regards, Debbie.
Chapter 1. The first year of being a widow was by far the most difficult. When I got the news that my husband had been killed in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan, it felt like an atomic bomb had gone off inside my head. My entire life, my body, my heart, felt as if I'd gone into a free fall. For weeks I was reeling with pain and loss, stumbling from one day to the next. It felt wrong that the world would continue when it had come to a complete halt for me. With no other choice, I struggled to make sense of this new reality that was mine. Only a few months after I received word of Paul's death, against everyone's advice, I left the corporate world and purchased a bed and breakfast. I moved from Seattle to a quaint community called Cedar Cove on the Kitsap Peninsula. The first night I spent as the inn's new proprietor, I felt Paul's presence as keenly and profoundly as if he were sitting by my side and speaking to me. He told me I would heal at this inn, and all who came to stay would find a harbor of healing as well. It was for that reason that I named my bed and breakfast the Inn at Rose Harbor. Rose for my husband, Paul Rose, and Harbor for the promise he had given me. Over the last 18 months, I have seen that promise come to fruition and witnessed it with many of my guests as well. Slowly, one day at a time, I've forged a new life for myself, a life without Paul. Recently, I read the last letter my husband had written to me, a love letter he'd penned in case he didn't return. It took a long time to find the courage to absorb what he had to say, mainly because I didn't want to accept the fact he was really gone. As I knew he would, Paul wrote that he loved me and that he would always be with me. He asked that I live a good life for the both of us. I'd taken Paul's words to heart and built a new life without him as best I could. As he'd foretold, the inn became the focus of the new me. Every day was a learning opportunity, a season of personal and professional growth. For one, I became far more proficient in the kitchen, creating tasty breakfasts for my guests. I also made friends in the community, good friends. I adopted a dog from the local animal shelter, Rover, who'd been named that because when he was found, it looked as if he'd been roaming on his own for quite some time. Rover had become my constant companion, my comforter, and my guard. I found it uncanny how well he sensed and reacted to my moods. It was almost as if Paul had directed Rover into my life.